have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Are you a member of the Communist Party?
Are you a member of the Communist Party?
Are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
I believe I have the right to be confronted with any evidence which supports this question. I should like to see what you have.
Oh, well, you would.
Yes.
Well, you will pretty soon. The witness is excused.
It's 1947 in the United States, and the House Un-American Activities Committee is calling suspected communists to testify before the Congressional Committee. 10 members of Hollywood refuse to answer the questions under their First Amendment rights and are found in contempt of Congress. Among the Hollywood 10 is Dalton Trumbo, one of the highest-paid screenwriters in Hollywood, and a registered communist.
Americans feared that the enemy would take advantage of their freedoms, that agents of communism were undermining America.
The Cold War and the fear of nuclear bombs inspired Joseph R. McCarthy, the junior senator from Wisconsin, to lead the charge of finding communists in America. On February 9, 1950, McCarthy announced that he was in possession of a list of communist spies working in the State Department. This started the hearings that would later become known as McCarthyism. Many believed that halting the spread of communism would help control the threat. Everyday Americans suspected of being communist were subpoenaed and had to testify before the committee. Film was considered the fastest way to reach the largest audience, and henceforth the easiest way to spread a message. With J. Parnell Thomas as chairman, the House Un-American Activities Committee began to investigate subversive activity in Hollywood. The first to be called before the committee was Larry Parks, an actor and admitted communist. Parks first took the stand and admitted he was a communist, and that was it. He was not asked to name others, as the committee said there was no purpose to forcing him to out his friends. The second time Parks was called, however, he was asked for names, as it was now a credible witness test. Parks argued that it wasn't fair to offer the ultimatum of jail or betrayal, but when faced with prison, he named others in closed testimony and continued to work. While writers and directors were targeted by HUAC because of their supposed ability to slip communist messages into film, actors were also called to testify. Many of those who gave names are well known today as they continued to work through the decades. Edward G. Robinson, a close friend of Trumbo, named names and thus continued acting. Many actors felt trapped as they relied on name and face recognition and could not appear to be someone else, unlike the writers who were not seen. The Hollywood 10 began to testify in November of 1947. They decided to do something different. They used their First Amendment rights to justify not answering the committee's questions. The 10 banded together to challenge the right of the committee.
These are the Hollywood 10. Albert Maltz, Lester Cole, Samuel Ornitz, Adrian Scott, Alva Bessie, Edward Dmytryk, Ring Lardner Jr., John Howard Lawson, Herbert Biberman, Dalton Trumbo.
None of the 10 actually answered the question, which meant they were found in contempt of Congress. This resulted in a fine of $1,000 and 1 year in prison. They attempted to appeal in 1950, but were denied and began serving their sentences. In addition to being fined and jailed, the 10 were blacklisted. The blacklist was not a written paper, it was a list of names, those who didn't cooperate with HUAC, as well as those who admitted to being a communist. The list was distributed to the Hollywood studios, and those on it were unemployable. The blacklist ended careers, separated families, and destroyed lives.
Why didn't we avoid all this? Why didn't we answer the questions yes or no as the committee demanded? Because we wanted to challenge the right of the committee to ask such questions.
We are aware of a developing nightmare of fear in our land, in which increasing numbers of citizens are being forced to swear, I am not this, I am not that, I don't belong to anything, I don't believe in anything, I don't criticize anything.
For those on the blacklist, working became very difficult, so the Hollywood 10 found ways of getting around it. Trumbo started by writing screenplays and giving them to friends to bring to their studios, and the two would split the profit. In 1952, Trumbo wrote The Princess and the Peasant, later renamed Roman Holiday, which was credited to Ian McClellan Hunter and released in 1953.
Nominated for the Best Motion Picture Story are the following: Burnley Jr. for the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer film Above and Beyond, Alec Coppell for The Captain's Paradise, British, London Films, Lopert Films, United Artists, Ray Ashley, Morris Engel, and Ruth Orkin for Little Fugitive Production Company, Joseph Burstein, and Ian McClellan Hunter for the Paramount picture Roman Holiday. The envelope, and the winner is Ian McClellan Hunter for Roman Holiday.
As time passed, more and more friends of the Hollywood 10 were added to the blacklist, which led to the writing of screenplays under made-up names. Trumbo would rewrite screenplays under various pseudonyms for the King brothers, who knew Trumbo's identity and politics. In 1956, he wrote The Brave One under the name Robert Rich. Upon winning the screenwriting Oscar, it went unclaimed, and that's when people started to ask questions.
The nominations for Best Motion Picture Story are Robert Rich for The Brave One, Leo Katcher for the Eddie Duchin story, Jean-Paul Sartre for The Proud and the Beautiful, and Cesare Zavattini for Umberto D. The envelope, please. The Brave One, Robert Rich. Lasky Jr., as Vice President of the Screenwriters Branch of the Writers Guild, will accept the award for Mr. Rich.
On behalf of Robert Rich and his beautiful story, thank you very much.
Who was Robert Rich? As many started to come forward claiming authorship, the scandal of it all became bigger and bigger. Was it a cover-up? Once it got to the point where it was accepted that Robert Rich wasn't a real person, the question became, which blacklisted writer wrote it? Trumbo used the opportunity to criticize the Academy and give blacklisted writers a platform. Trumbo didn't confirm the rumors until 1960 when the blacklist ended, but Hollywood was abuzz with speculation. This helped contribute to the eventual ending of the blacklist. The next year, The Bridge on the River Kwai won Best Screenplay, and it was credited to the author of the book that the film was based on, Pierre Boulle. The film script was written by two blacklisted writers, and this proved to further embarrass the Academy, as it was revealed that Boulle had never written for film or even spoke English.
Pierre Boulle, The Bridge on the River Kwai.
The following year, in 1958, Nathan Douglas won Best Screenplay for The Defiant Ones, which was actually a pseudonym for Ned Young, another blacklisted writer. Young agreed not to reveal his authorship to save the Academy further embarrassment, for which the Academy, in return, changed the rule banning blacklisted writers from winning Oscars. This was a large step forward in the falling of the blacklist. In 1959, Kirk Douglas, a young movie star early in his career, took a risk and hired Trumbo for the adaptation of Spartacus from novel to film script. Later that same year, Trumbo was approached by Otto Preminger, a powerful director, to write Exodus. Both films premiered in 1960 and properly credited Trumbo as the screenwriter. This was the first time since 1945 that Trumbo's real name had been on the screen. The blacklist barred the Hollywood 10 from working, which led to the writing of 19 uncredited works by Dalton Trumbo alone. When the Academy reversed the rule that blacklisted writers could not be nominated for Oscars, it meant the Academy no longer took the threat of communism seriously. In 1960, Trumbo had 2 films premiere with his name in the credits. In February of 1961, President Kennedy attended a screening of Spartacus, meaning the supposed threat of communist messages in film was no longer being taken seriously by the President of the United States. These events all contributed to the ending of the blacklist. In 1975, as Trumbo was dying of cancer, an Academy official came to his home and gave him an Oscar for The Brave One, the first and only Oscar ever with the name Dalton Trumbo.
How are you going to answer the committee's questions?
Answer yes or no. Are you a member of the Communist Party?
How will you answer?
In 1859, Abraham Lincoln said, "The people are the rightful masters of the Congresses and the courts."
We believe this, and for asserting that belief before a congressional committee, 10 of us are going to prison, casualties of the Cold War. How many more will there be?
There need be no more. That depends on you. Truly, it depends on you. Truly, it depends on you.